Right guys, welcome back to Gugu's Garage, and today we're reviewing something SUV-ish. Since you guys like buying SUVs, that is what the trend is these days. That's what people are buying, and that's what manufacturers are making. So behind me right here is the Renault Koleos. So a lot has been done here. It's the new one. Let me show you. Design wise, as you can see over there, the front is changed. You've got those C-shaped daytime running LED lights. It's not the kind of car that I would see myself driving on a daily. As much as I respect the car and I think it's a good looking car for what it is, and if you squint and you look closely, you might also realize and recognize that this looks very, very similar to the Nissan X-Trail. So there's a reason for that. Renault and Nissan are obviously in an alliance, the Renault and Nissan alliance, and this is basically a Nissan X-Trail with Renault badging, or the other way around. They're in an alliance. The underpinnings of this car are the same as the Nissan X-Trail. I want to show you the back, because the back, I think, is a lot prettier than the front. So if we swing over here, you can see Renault's design language in those tail lights, and I actually love them at night. So at night, they really, really come on. I don't know if it's LED technology, but it does look like it's LED lights at the back at night. You've obviously got keyless entry. You touch that, it opens, or you just walk away from the car and it locks. This is what the interior looks like. We've got ourselves a digital instrument cluster over there with all the vital signals of the car. And the one thing, I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, this screen over here, I'm not a big fan of touch screens, and it's just, yeah, it's not the best, because to get into things in the car like your aircon, you now have to touch a screen and figure out what to do and press. They've tried by adding aircon dials over here, but these are just temperature dials. You still have to go into a screen in order for you to activate the aircon. You still have to touch buttons on a screen to do your volume, etc, etc. The car is a 7-speed CVT. And if anyone knows anything about gearboxes, you know that CVT is probably the worst. But the nice thing about this in here, the CVT in here, is that you don't actually realize that it's a CVT gearbox. So it doesn't behave like a normal CVT gearbox does, making a noise and clinging onto gears. It's actually very smooth, in my opinion. We've got ourselves a 2.5 liter petrol engine up front, which for me it's a bit underpowered for what this is. I think it's 126 kilowatts and 233 newton meters of torque. It would have been better with a slightly bigger engine, slightly more power and torque. The nice thing about it though is that you've got an all-wheel drive system over there. So right now we're in two-wheel drive, or you can go into auto, which basically splits between the front and the back, depending on what the car thinks you need, or you can go into four-wheel drive lock. Over there, hill descent control. So this is the kind of car that you can actually take off-road and do a bit of off-roading if you want to do. The nice thing about the interior, let me take you through that now. So it is obviously a Renault, but I love the fact that the interior has got a lot of soft touch panels all around. It feels like a quality interior, which for me was a bit of a surprise. Not that I expect anything less from Renault, but it just was a pleasant surprise to find, you know, all these soft touch materials all the way through. So let me take you through the back and the boots, because obviously if you buy this kind of car, you're buying a family car, right? I've got ample legroom, so there's plenty legroom between me and the seats. And I mean, I'm 1.82 or so, somewhere around there. So it is very, very spacious in the back, very comfortable to be in the back. The only thing I wish they would have done in the back here is added a bit of recline to the rear backrest. So the nice thing about the tailgate over here is that you just hit that button over there and watch as that opens by itself. Voila! So we've got a decent sized boot in here, I must say. Open that, and it's a very decent sized boot. I think the only thing I can say that is a bit negative about the boots is that it's a bit high. So it is a bit high, and the reason behind that is you've got a full-size spare in here. You can't see it because it's under this cover, but it is a full-size spare, which is a positive, right? So it's a give and take. You lose a bit of boot depth in order to have a full-size spare. This one came with a tow hitch, which obviously is a plus with this kind of car. Now let's go talk about the competitors. What does this go up against? What can you buy aside from this. Over here, we're competing against the Kia Sportage, we're competing against the Toyota RAV4. Those are the alternatives that you can buy with your money. The Haval H6 you can also buy, and the VW Tiguan. So those are the direct competitors to this, and in my opinion, I must say that the Sportage for me is streets ahead in terms of just look and feel and tech, etc, etc. I mean, you do have cruise control, etc, in here. It's not adaptive cruise control. This is the dynamic, I think that's how they pronounce it, dynamic. So it is the top of the range Renault Koleos, and those are the options that you may want to look at if you're looking for an SUV of this size. Kia Sportage, Toyota RAV4, VW Tiguan, Haval H6. Am I missing one? Also the Mazda CX-5. Okay, so you probably want to know how this thing drives, right? So the one thing I must say is that 2.5 litre petrol engine is not enough. It's enough for the city, it's enough for city cruising, but I think as soon as you put it on the highway, you start feeling the deficiency in that engine. Renault could have done better with that. They could have done more. And you know, it's a family car. So this is the kind of car that's either going to be towing something at the back, or you're going to have family inside the car. And once you add all of those things in here, it's going to be a different story. It is a comfortable car to drive in the city. Ride comforts and all of that, I'd give it probably 8 out of 10. It's really, really good. And lastly, before I let you go, if you're looking for car insurance, right, we're affiliated with the best and we only deal with the best. If you're buying a car, you're obviously going to need insurance. So get on to changecars.co.za and get yourself insured. Click on the Discovery tab and cover yourself. That's what sane and smart people do, right? Don't say I didn't tell you. Go get cover, get insurance, get Discovery.